welcome to our chair yoga class. My name is Tina Wang and I am going to be the instructor that will be leading you throughout our class today. This is part of our Team Senior Planet, which is our fitness programming here at Senior Planet. And you saw me juggling some bricks earlier because we're actually going to be using a block for our practice today. This will be a 1-hour guided practice. Besides, of course, our block, since this is chair yoga, we will, of course, have our lovely chair with us. So if you don't have a block at home, not a problem. You can use anything that's sturdy that has a height. You can use cans, you can use boxes. We will be putting our legs, our foot on it, and kind of feeling the height of our leg being supported by a block or anything of height. So definitely something sturdy is a good idea. So usually in our live classes, we don't use a lot of props since, there are perhaps, I don't want to sort of teach to a large group in the moment when people don't have those things at home. But since this is a recording, you can pause, you can, do half of it, do the other half some other time. So that's why in these recordings, I do offer sort of different variations with different props. So today, after you've grabbed your block and your chair, you can come to the front edge of the chair. I'm just going to demonstrate a lateral view of what we're going to do to start class. So with your block, you're going to place it in between the arches of your feet. It doesn't matter if you use the widest width or the more narrow one. I just want you to feel that you're actually hugging the block or whatever sturdy surface you have. And if you're happening to use maybe a can or something, you can put it sideways so that the edges of the can, are against the edges of the arches of the feet. After you've established that, you come to the front edge of the chair if you're not already there. See if you can bring your shins so that they're more perpendicular to the floor. And from the connection of the inner edges of the feet towards your object of support, spread the toes wide and start to feel, with the spreading of the toes, the sense of connection towards the floor. And after that, you're going to bring your hands, you're going to rest them at the tops of the legs. You're going to use the heels of the hands to press down on the thighs. So you start to feel a sense of upliftment at the back of the body. And from there, you're going to level your chin so it's parallel to the floor. You're going to roll your upper arms back. You can walk your hands a little bit higher up the leg. So you're starting to feel this sense of a wide chest as the shoulders roll back. With the next breath out, you're going to start to slowly observe how your back is situated. Do you notice any part of the back already pushing forward or receding back? Can you feel that there is a very kind of strong energy that is lifting you up? At the same time, you have that connection to the floor, the spreading of the toes, the connection of your feet towards the ground, towards the block, that anchors you and, and perhaps invites you to feel a little bit safer to uplift. So in our practice today, we are looking for balance, equanimity in our actions as we start to move throughout the poses. So observe also if you're pushing your belly forward, if you're tilting your hips back. See if you can find more of a perpendicular trunk against the chair. From there, you're going to bring your hands to meet at the center of the chest. You're going to let your big thumbs, knuckle, touch the center of the chest. And see if you can let your elbows, instead of being wide so it crowds your shoulder, your elbows are down next to the sides of your trunk. And then from there, if you are able to, slowly start to close your eyes. And if you're not able to close your eyes, just start to soften your gaze. And observe the breath as it comes in and out of the body. From there, can you start to breathe a little bit more fully? So wherever you're feeling the breath, maybe magnify it. But observe yourself here, sitting, perched evenly. So since you're at your end of your screen watching me, and I'm at my end of my screen, I'm giving instruction to you. There could be a sense of sort of disconnection. So can you tap into your breath? Tap into this moment where we're a little bit more quiet with our bodies. So you can start to observe what your inner landscape is telling you about how your body, how your thoughts, and how your emotions are doing right now. Is today the time for more vigorous practice? Is today the time for you to just breathe and focus on the breath and then let that guide you? So in this next 50 or so minutes, please take care of yourself. With the next breath out, maybe you set an intention for practice as you bow your chin down towards your chest. With the next breath out, you're going to let your hands rest, feeling the weight of the hands, the weight of the feet, the weight of the hips. The next breath out, lifting your chin up so it's parallel to the floor once again. As you start to slowly blink your eyes open if they were closed, or start to just slowly sharpen your gaze forward. Great. So now we're going to pick up our brick or block or can, whatever, and you're going to bring it to the center of the chest. See if you can make it the widest. So if it's your can, you don't want the can to point up and down. If it's a block, see if you can make it the widest. You're going to press the palms of the hands into the block. So since we don't have two blocks, you're going to still imagine that block at the inner edge of the feet as you start to slowly press your hands forward and extend the fingertips forward. So I'm going to do that one more time. What I'm doing is I'm extending my elbows and I'm letting my wrists be straight as I start to point my fingers forward. See if you can press into the block a little bit more without changing the length of the spine, without changing the spread of the feet and the connection to the floor. With that, you're going to bend your elbows wide this time. See if you can keep a sense of softness in the inner shoulder so that it doesn't start to crowd your neck. Exhale, you're going to press your arms forward once again with your can connecting on the block. If at any point this becomes too strenuous, you're always welcome to just drop the block and just do the same action with your hands, kind of with an imaginary block. Exhale, you're going to start to bend your elbows once more out to the sides. Breathe fully here. Once more, you're going to extend your arms forward. This time, you're going to keep your elbows as straight as you can. You're going to keep the inner shoulders as relaxed as you can. As you start to slowly extend the arms a little bit on the diagonal, so towards more the forehead region. Exhale, you're going to let your arms remain straight as you start to lower your hands as if it's going to come in between your legs. Breathe fully here. We're going to do that 3 more times. You're going to start to slowly extend your arms forward. Extend your arms up. You're going to extend your arms a little bit higher perhaps this time. See if you can keep your arms straight. Exhale, you're going to start to bring the arms forward and down once again. So every time maybe you come a little bit higher, but maybe you just stay where you are or even go a little bit lower. So just examine if you can keep, again, that sense of connection to the floor, the sense of length in the trunk. Imagine that your arms are just an extension of your trunk as you slowly start to bring the arms up and down. So see if you can use, maybe in the last 2 more times, you're going to follow the breath. Inhale, see if you can reach the peak of the inhale as your arms reach the highest range of motion you're wanting to go to today. And then exhale as you start to reach your arms down and reach the peak of the exhale as you start to reach your arms down. Last time, again, maybe this time you start to reach your arms, inhale, up. As you start to reach your arms, maybe they reach next to the ears. Maybe you find a little bit more height as you lengthen the side of the trunk upwards. And then slowly bringing your arms down, slowly bringing your arms next to the insides of the legs. You can start to press into, so let go of the hands and let your knees start to connect towards the inside of the block itself. So with that, steady breaths. You're going to release the block now, and this time you're going to start to bring the block to the middle of the back. So I want you to just observe what I'm going to do here. So watch as since I do have a more peculiar chair. You don't need to have this kind of a chair. But what I'm going to want to do is that I want to bring the block so that my block is able to touch the middle of my back like so. So if you have a regular chair, this will be a lot easier for you to do. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing the block horizontally and I'm reaching it so that it can touch the back of the chair and as well as the middle of my back. Again, if you have a chair that has a full back, this is of course a little bit more accessible. So you can start to scooch your weight backwards towards the back edge of the seat so that you're able to start to connect the middle of the back towards the block that then reaches back towards the back of the chair. So with yourself more to the back of the chair this time, you're going to start to see if you can bring your arms to a cactus position like so. So a cactus position is just two L shapes, but I wanted to just make sure that you see what we're doing with the block laterally, and then I'm going to come to face you in a moment. So again, my shins are still perpendicular. I'm scooching my weight back so I can connect the block to the chair. If, of course, you find that your legs don't touch the floor, this is also a chance for you to, if you have another box or another block, to elevate your feet up a little bit so that you can start to connect the block with the chair and the feet to the floor. So with that, you're going to start to, as I said, bring your hands to a cactus shape. So observe now that connection between your arms in the two L and then maybe a reverse L position. And you first make sure that your hands are facing straight forward, left and right, so they're not facing up or down, you're not tutting or doing some sort of hand dance, you're spreading your fingers wide. And can you elevate your elbows so that they're parallel to the floor? With that, you're going to feel what happens when you start to bring your arms to reach back. So there's a sense, perhaps, that your back is, the middle of that back against the block kind of tightens and move towards each other. Can you start to feel that? And then you can bring the arms a little bit more forward. And then once more, you're going to draw the arms back. And then bring the arms a little bit more forward. With the arms out in your cactus position, you're going to now slowly start to elevate the arms up so that the elbows start to straighten up a little bit. Can you find that feeling where the middle of the back stays gathered, just like you were doing when you're pumping your arms slightly back, as you start to extend your arms in a diagonal position and lengthen out through the fingertips as you descend your heels, as you press your hips downwards. So see if you can find, again, this is the balance of the pose of the extension of the arms so that the trunk gets the action from the arms to lift up. At the same time, the hips and the heels move down. So that's how we kind of feel that stretch in the upper trunk. Breathe fully here. Can you observe the connection you have with your block? Is it kind of favoring one side or the other? Can you feel that both shoulder blades move evenly in towards each other? So there's a sense of stabilization happening as you reach your arms away. Breathe fully. Exhale, you're going to bring your arms out to the sides. You're going to once again see if you can pump your arms slightly back and then start to bring your arms slightly forward. Once more, exhale, bring your arms slightly back. And then inhale, bring your arms slightly forward. And last time, as you bring your arms back, I also want you to observe if you are starting to tilt your weight in the hips forward or back. So can you find that you're still at the center of your seat? So there's a sense that you have your pubic bone right underneath you. So can you feel that point is sharp and you're not tilting forward or back of that? Exhale, you're going to bring your arms down. So this sense of the block behind you is something that I want you to carry with you throughout practice, even when we don't have the block. So the block here can be very informative because you know, if you're not gathering the shoulder blades in, I'm not talking about pinching them and hardening them. I'm just thinking about how they gather in so that I can start to spread my chest. So from the side view, I just want you to notice, we work, of course, if you've come to my live classes, you know, we work on our posture a lot. And this idea that the arms are going to help, our limbs help us lift our trunk and start to open our chest. Because eventually, at the end of the day, we do this yoga practice, right, to become more still in our focus and in our awareness of our breath. So when we start to have the arms reach back behind us, there could be that sense where the shoulders move back, but also there's a sense that instead of just the shoulders moving back and more weight moves to the block, I want you to see as the arms reach back, whether we were doing the pumping with the cactus arms, or we were reaching out to the diagonal, or whether we were just reaching out to the side. And my wall is here, so whether I'm reaching out to the side and pumping, I want now that your arms are down, imagine that center of the back gathers forward without letting, you see how would be me pushing my lower back. I don't want to start to feel my weight at the front of my hips. I want to still feel myself stacked. So this is a shoulder opener. As we start to also work on the posture of how the support of the back helps us open the chest. So we are strengthening the back in this range of motion with the middle of the back moving forward. So with that going, can you start to, you're going to have to remove the block, although this may feel nice, yeah? So welcome to, of course, being that this is your class, you're doing this with a recording. Feel free to pause, stay as long as you want in any pose. So we are going to move on though. We are going to start to bring the block to the side. So as you can see, I've just moved it to my left side. And come back to the front edge of the chair. You can spread your toes from here, press the heels down. Once again, use the heels of the hands to press the upper thighs down. You're gonna let your elbows come close to the body. So we're gonna just reestablish that length of the trunk, but this time we don't have that block behind us. Can you imagine that the block is there? With the next breath out, you're gonna extend your left arm out to the sides. This time bring your fingertips to touch. You're going to let your trunk, so you can see I have this Team Senior Planet writing on my shirt. I'm going to keep it facing you the same direction as I start to extend myself over towards that left block, the block on the left side. Can I find that the lettering stays even as I start to reach my hand down towards the block? So of course, you can start to make the adjustment. Does the block need to be further? Does the block need to be closer? How can you determine that? First, observe how you are interacting with your right side. Do you find that because your block maybe is far away, that you're lifting your right buttock off the chair seat? Can you find appropriate distance for your block so that you can ground the right heel down and the right hip down? You're going to start to gently press away so that the left side starts to feel energized, so the block is there for you. Of course, if you're finding that it's very easy for you to reach down onto the floor without losing the connection of that right hip, you do so. The block provides you space. It provides you support to open up. You're gonna exhale, lift the right arm next to the ear from there. Maybe you can even find yourself, I can move that left block a little bit further away so that the left side gets lengthened. Breathe fully and observe where your chin is in this position. Do you start to find your chin reach up towards the right armpit? Can you keep both sides of the neck even as you find length on the left trunk, side of the trunk, and length on the right side of the trunk? So maybe you've heard this one before. If you bow your chin down towards your chest, if your chin is bisecting the chest, that generally means that your head is in the correct position. Exhale, you're going to swing your right arm up as you come up to a seated position. Observe the difference in how you're feeling on both sides. Even though you're extending to the left side, you shouldn't feel that there was a lot of tightening and compression there. That's why we have the block there to help us lengthen. So we're going to do this on the other side now. Again, spread your toes, make your heels even with each other as you start to press your hands down. You're going to extend your right arm out to the side. And with the left hip down, so the hand is there to remind you, you're going to extend the trunk over. Again, the lettering of my shirt stays forward as I start to bring my hand down. Careful that you're not bringing your block back or you're bringing it too far forward, because you want to be able to maximize the alignment of the lateral extension. And I know we're bending over, but we're thinking extension because we don't want to start to collapse on the side we are bending towards. You're going to start to extend your left arm to the side, and with you can maybe start to walk the block further away. Turn the left palm to the ceiling, left heel presses, left hip presses as you start to extend the arm over towards the left ear. Watch that you're not going so far with the block. You feel lightness in the left buttock, so observe when you need to move the block back. It's totally fine. Observe how this side feels different than the first side. Is there more space here? Can you press down to that right fingertip? So I also would suggest you come to your tippy fingertips from here and extend the side trunk away as the hips move down. Breathe fully here. If there's any strain in the neck, again, observe how you are situating your head. Maybe your head is too far towards the one arm or the other arm. Can you find that you're lengthening the trunk so that there's support for the neck as you find evenness in how you're moving both sides of the neck? Exhale, swing the left arm up, come up to seated position. Good. Now you're going to bring the block and you're going to start to bring it in front of you. So you're going to bring it down. And I just wanted to show you that the block, again, you can use the block either by keeping it in a vertical position, or you can also, so as you can see, my block has 3 different settings, right? The lower, the middle, and the highest. So you can start to choose. What we're going to do though, if you want to put in front of you far enough so that when you're at the front edge of the chair and you extend your leg, you can straighten your leg out fully. So that's the distance, so you can start to observe. Also, you can determine the height, right? So we're gonna do this 2 times, so you can also change the height of it after the first round. So again, you're going to come to the front edge of the chair and you're gonna extend your leg forward onto the block, support, whatever it is. So we're gonna do that with the left foot first. You're gonna let your right foot, again, be steady and strong. As you start to swing your arms out to the sides, and you point your left toe straight up to the ceiling, the left knee straight up, and the left hip is also not turning out or in. You're going to turn your palms to the ceiling. You're gonna lift your arms straight up to the sky. With that, can you feel the length of the back of the left leg as you press the left heel forward? And instead of letting the leg drag your hips, can you situate your hips straight down towards the center of the chair seat as you lift the side trunk with your arms extending overhead? If your arms cannot extend overhead, welcome to turn it to the diagonal position or keep it out to the sides. You're going to feel length through all your 4 limbs, except the arms are reaching away and the feet are reaching away in different directions, of course. And you're going to feel your hips move back as your heels ground, and you're going to extend your trunk forward. This time, so either your arms are overhead, diagonal, or to the sides, you're going to all bring your arms down so that they're going to be reaching back. You're going to let your upper arms and shoulders roll back as you start to extend the trunk a little bit further forward. Observe the opening of the back of the left leg. Observe that the left leg isn't kind of just doing whatever it does. It's pointing forward. If toes are spread, heels presses away. With that, you're going to reach your arms forward. You're going to imagine you have the block in front of you, second block, and you're going to start to slowly lift the arms up, maybe a couple inches, and lift the arms, bring the arms back forward. Once more, you're going to lift the arms slightly up, elbow straight. Maybe it goes higher this time. Exhale, bring the arms down. We're going to do it one more time. This time with the arms a little bit maybe closer to overhead. You're going to extend the trunk more forward if you can, or stay where you are. And then exhale, you're going to swing your arms back. You're going to settle your hips as you come up to seated position. Breathe fully here. You're going to swing your right arm up this time. And again, watch how, as I swung my right arm, you see my shirt kind of turned a little bit to the left side. Can I still keep myself facing straight forward as I start to extend my trunk forward? I'm going to start to see, can I reach towards my inside of my left toes? Maybe the answer is no. right? I just test it out. If I'm able to, I start to hook my first and second and third finger onto the big toe. From there, can I start to feel the middle of the back start to move towards the screen? So instead of thinking, how low can I clasp and round my shoulders, it's how far can I extend my trunk and move the center of my back forward. If this is not accessible, bring your hand to the inner knee area. You can start to just feel that connection there. You can feel the underside of the left knee, so you can just grab there. But the left arm reaches back, the right toe spreads, so the right knee doesn't go out to the side. And then exhale, you're going to release the arms, swing your arms up, and start to come up to seated position, vertical, and you're going to let your hands rest down. You're going to bring your hands to the top of the hips, and again, you're going to press the hips slightly down as you lift the side trunk up, but not push forward or back. With that, you're going to start to work on a little bit of ankle motion here. So you're going to start to relax the foot a little bit and relax the leg a little bit. You're going to start to bring the inner, so I just want you to observe, you're just moving the ankle. You're moving it laterally. So you're going to start to bring the toes to slightly point towards the right side of the rim. And exhale, you're going to keep your gaze down at your foot as you start to bring the toes to point straight back forward. And then now you're going to move so that the toe, the whole foot starts to move towards the right side of the rim. But observe, I didn't rotate out my hip. I didn't rotate out the rest of my leg is not really doing much. And then you're going to do that one more time. Can you use your breath as you move? Exhale, you're going to move the toes to the right side of the rim. Inhale, you're going to bring your toes back to face forward. And then now you're going to move your toes to the right side of the rim. And then start to bring it back forward. And then we're going to start to now bring the toes to face straight up to the ceiling. As you start to carefully bring the foot down, as you start to bring your hands to the tops of the thighs. Observe the difference, left side, right side. Great. This time you're going to bring your block over to the right side. And of course, we're two-sided, so we're going to just bring out the right foot out to the block. Observe if you have a sturdy surface that maybe is not as sturdy as you would hope it is. Maybe your block is a little bit too narrow, your can is not wide enough, whatever the reason, it doesn't matter, right? You can always do this on the floor. We're just giving a different kind of experience. If, of course, you would like to, you can even bring like a stool or something that's a little bit shorter if that serves the purpose as well. So once again, you're going to bring the block forward. You're going to bring the foot onto the block. You're going to press your upper thighs down with the heels of the hands. We're moving the shoulders back. You're going to spread both sets of toes. Press down to the left heel. Extend through that right heel. You're going to extend your arms out to the side. You're going to turn your palms to the ceiling and lift your arms straight up. You're going to start to move your hips back as you extend your trunk forward. Again, if this strains your shoulders or your back in any way, observe first if you can stay more even in those parts of the body if they're overdoing. If it's not a matter of them overdoing, it's just a matter that, the body maybe is not ready for this action just yet, extend the arms wide or extend out the arms. Breathe fully. You're going to now this time bring your arms forward and slowly imagine you have the block in between your two hands. You're going to slowly start to, maybe you can reach your arms a little bit forward as you start to bring yourself a little bit more towards the top of the left leg. Exhale. You're going to keep the right leg straight as you start to extend the arms overhead slightly. Exhale, bring the arms forward. You're going to do it one more time, extending arms overhead slightly. Good, and exhale, bring the arms down to face me. One more time. Maybe this time the arms reach next to the ears. But again, watch if that you're not rounding the shoulders, you're not letting your middle of the back move to the ceiling, but it stays forward. And then slowly swing your arms back. Let the shoulders move back. And slowly poke the fingertips back as you come up to seated position. Hands on the tops of the thighs. So feel now, you're going to start to relax the right foot. And you're again going to move the ankle side to side. Exhale, you're going to start to again, really let the foot relax. So noticing the difference between the relaxed leg versus the kind of energized, connected, energetic leg. With the relaxed leg, exhale, you're going to start to move the toes, not because you're letting the toes initiate, but rather it's because you're lengthening the right edge of the foot. And slowly bring the foot back with your next cycle of breath. Exhale, you're going to start to lengthen the inner edge of the foot and slowly coming back to the center. Inhale here. Exhale, the foot starts to move to the left side. Slowly come back to the center. This foot starts to move to the right side. And slowly coming back to the center. And then once more, you're going to start to bring the foot down. So we're going to this time start to reach towards your block. You're going to this time, I said we were going to do it two times, right? So now instead of using the block this way, you're going to start to lift the block so that it is now on the higher. Maybe at first you were, the higher, so it would be this way, right? So this time you can choose though, if you want to, if you're ready to, maybe you want to bring the block to the highest height, right? And you can start to extend your left leg there, yeah? So again, before we're sort of moving straight, to the next thing, I want you to see if you can spread your left toes, spread your right toes. You're going to extend your arms this time back. So I want you to bend your elbows and extend your arms back. And from there, you're going to extend the trunk forward. Feel the breath from the belly to the shoulders. Maybe this time you feel because the leg is more elevated, there's more opening in the back of that left leg. And then slowly you're going to come back up to a seated position and you're going to bring the foot down. So I just realized we did miss one thing from that second side. So you're going to start to move the block to the right side. You're going to extend your leg and you're going to swing your arms out to the side. Don't worry, we're here and we're going to make that a little bit more balanced. So with your trunk now extending forward, you're going to reach your left hand to the inside of the right leg. So again, you can hold on to the underside of that knee. If you can, you reach towards your big toe with your second and third finger. So from there, you're going to see if you can improve the sense of the middle of the back moving forward and moving up towards, so not moving back towards the chair or behind you, but moving forward and towards the screen. And then from there, you're going to swing your arms out, you're going to extend your arms back, and you're going to come up to a seated position. This time, you're going to start to tilt the block. Maybe it's just the second highest height. You're going to extend your leg. Maybe it's the highest height, and you're going to extend your leg. So whichever variation, see if you can maintain the opening of the trunk. This time you're going to bring your palms to face the ceiling and you're going to start to pull the arms back. Like you're rowing, right? That sense. But the arms are turned up to the ceiling. With that, spread your toes, press the heels down, feel the weight shift back as a preparation for your trunk to extend forward. Observe here, there might be a greater opening in the back of the leg. If so, regardless of how much opening you're feeling, I want you to maintain the integrity of the trunk. So the trunk doesn't start to just kind of, let me just get as much stretch as I can with the underside of that right leg. So as you probably know already, this is our chair yoga class. It's not titled a chair stretching class. So there is a difference in how we're approaching these poses and these perhaps stretches that you might start to be more familiar with. Exhale, you're going to extend your arms back. You're going to come up to a seated position and you're going to bring your feet down. Okay, so if you have a wide enough block in which you can put both feet on, great, you're going to do so. But if you find that your block is too narrow, your support, whatever it is, you're going to just do it again, left side, right side. So you're going to, if you have the kind of the width for the block, you're going to bring both feet onto the block like so. Again, you do want to pull your toes back because I don't want you to sort of lose connection with the block. I want you to bring the inner edges of the feet to touch and walk your feet to touch as well. Again, if this is not something you have around your house, no problem. You're just going to do it once more with your foot, 1 foot at a time. With your legs elevated, you're going to start to interlock your hands. So you're going to put your foot on the block. So be careful, of course. You don't want to fall off your chair seat. You can start to feel the flesh underneath your buttocks, or actually move the flesh underneath your buttocks back. So you find that sense you are secure back in your chair seat as you interlock your hands and press your hands forward. Press out through the heels of the foot as you start to extend the trunk forward, but feel the hips. Don't just follow the pressing forward of the heels. The hips draw back. So the hands, maybe they're at the position of the mouth. Imagine this, you're stretching the palm of the hand, the skin of the hand, and then slowly you're going to let go of that. If you're able to maintain the length in the front of the body. So from the side view, it looks like this. Get into position. If you're able to maintain the length in the front of the body, right? Instead of it feeling like you're just, reaching towards the feet. The idea is not just, how far can I go, but how long can I extend? Observe how the front of my body is long. I can start to fold from the hips down. Again, if I can keep the middle of the back moving forward. And then slowly come up to seated position. So you're going to switch sides now if you were doing it one side at a time. But if you had both your feet on, you're going to bring your feet close again. I'm going to stay at the lateral view so that you can start to really attune to that length of the trunk, the perpendicular sense, and the shoulder blade and upper back action. You're going to interlock your hands the other way. You're going to spread your toes once more. Feel that the calves, outer calves, don't just sway out. You want to feel that everything is aligned in the center, inner edges of the foot. So you don't want to turn your, you don't want to grip your calves either. But you want to just feel there's a sense that you're kind of wearing something tight from the outside that connects you to your center. So not connects you to a sense of stiffness or a sense of compression. So that's why we don't really talk about sucking the belly in. We talk about lengthening the side trunk, which inevitably will lift the side of the body, right? We'll lift the abdomen. So interlock your hands the other way, press your hands forward. You're going to extend the trunk as you press your hands forward. From there, maybe the hands reach next up to the sort of forehead region. Can you start to slowly, maybe elevate your arms a little bit higher? Maybe, again, if you can keep them as straight as you did when you had your feet down on the floor, you can, of course, come lower and lower. And then from there, you're going to release your hands, but stay on your incline. You're going to bring your hands to the tops of the shins, maybe closer to the ankles. You're going to use your hands on your legs to drag. It's like you're holding onto your thighs. If you're not able to go so low, of course, bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. It's like you're dragging the skin of your legs up. So whether it's down here, up here, maybe you're even reaching towards your toes, again with the second and third finger, do for your big toes. Whatever it is, drag the skin of your leg up with your fingertips, comb it up as you extend the trunk, and this time tilt your chin up. Again, if you're doing this one side at a time, switch to the first side one more time. So you're going to extend your other leg forward and bring this time your chin to reach up to the sky. So we tilt the chin up as a way to connect to how the middle of the back can move forward and in. So if you're finding you're not really connecting to that, if the tilting of the chin is just causing compression or some sort of discomfort in the neck, then don't tilt your chin so much. Maybe you need to think more about lengthening from the side waist to the side rib cage to the side armpit. And then you're gonna switch your legs one more time if you had one leg extended out at a time. And then slowly this time, you're going to start to reach your arms back, interlock your hands behind your back. You're gonna move your upper arms and shoulders back as you start to extend the elbows back. And with that, you're going to press your arms back as you straighten the elbows and come up to a seated position. For a moment, just stay here seated with your heels down, toes spread, with the vertical sense of the trunk as you feel that strong action of gathering in the upper back region. And see if you can breathe into the sides of the chest. So there may be a sense of constriction in the back, and can that sense be a sense that it kind of guides the breath forward and out to the sides? And then slowly release that. You're going to, one more time, bring the block to the middle of the back. So you're going to scooch back on your chair. This time, maybe you want to try a different setting. So just as an experience, what happens when you bring the narrow edge of the block towards the, so I'm going to show this maybe more. So I'm going to see if I can bring now this more narrow. Maybe even you want to try what happens when you bring the more narrow part of this way, right? What happens when you bring that to the back of your chair? Maybe this one brings more of a sense, like imagine if this was the sort of length of the trunk, length of the spine, right? How do the muscles near it support it so that you can start to feel an opening in the chest? So this is also a good place if you have a seated meditation practice, right? You can use the block behind you as a way to keep your chest uplifted and supported. Observe the quality of the breath as you breathe here with the support of the block. Is it easier to breathe right now? If you're not sure, don't start to think about, highlighting or exaggerating the breath, but just think about, what is my breath doing? A lot of times we don't know because we just do. We don't know what's there already. So it can be helpful to let go of expectations of the breath, because maybe, I'm saying it, do you feel that you're breathing better? And there's a sense of perhaps, could be a sense of not knowing, or I think so, or sometimes letting go of what it should be or what it isn't can kind of open space for what it is already. And from there, you can just follow it. And then slowly, you're going to carefully remove the block. And then we're going to, now, I'm just turning the chair, we're not getting up. So now you're going to do a little bit more of shoulder action. So I'm going to suggest you to bring the hand to the part of the block that you can spread your hand more fully. And then you're going to bring the wrist to bend. So now the hand is going to be facing to the ceiling. If this range of motion is not accessible, so I'm going to come forward so you can see. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to just try to bring my hand in this position. And again, if this is not accessible for whatever reason, do it without the block. You can even bring the block to the 2 feet, inner arches of the feet, right? And you can just bring your hand without the block. With your hand on the block itself, you're going to let your elbows just be slightly to the outside of the shoulder. So you don't have to bring the arm kind of completely in, just slightly outside. And you're going to spread your hand on the block. And again, this could be very heavy already. So then just let go of that and you can just bring your hand out to the side. And with that, you're going to start to slowly start to press the block away from you. But can you do it in a yogic way? Can you do it with the connection of what every other part of the body is doing, what the breath is doing? Maybe the arm is able to reach overhead, maybe it stays halfway, right? So it doesn't matter again how far you're going, but it's the quality of the movement that we're really trying to be keen in observing how it's happening. And then slowly you're going to bring the arm down. You're going to do that one more time. Exhale. See if you can exhale and match the exhale to the full extension of the arm. And then slowly let the breath just be natural. And then one more time, you're going to exhale, extend the arm. And then slowly inhale. Great. Now you're going to do that to the other side. So again, if you're working with an injury, of course, and one side you're able to and one side you're not able to, that's okay, right? You just want to be aware of it, of doing it on both sides. Slowly, again, you're going to bring your hand to spread to the ceiling. Again, any point, and just bring your hand to just face up to the ceiling. So with this action, you're going to slowly bring the arm up. So I'm just going to demonstrate what you would do if you didn't have the palm, if you didn't have the block, okay? And slowly you're going to bring the arm down and observe that I'm not changing my wrist. My wrist stays the same, so I don't start to bend my wrist. I actually think about that I'm pressing the heel of my hand. That's it. And then you're going to do that one more time. And then slowly you're going to bring the arm down. And then slowly you're going to do the first side once more. If you felt that was feeling okay for the shoulder, I would encourage you now to narrow the range a little bit so that you're able to start to feel the elbow now point straight down. So you are bringing your arm to about shoulder width. So everything we've just worked on applies, right? The spreading of the toes, the connection of the heel and the hip straight down towards your floor or your chair, the kind of connection of the inner edge of the foot, the shoulder blades fanning towards each other so that we can start to feel an open chest. Exhale, you're going to, again, if you're starting to feel stuck at any point, can you soften and keep moving? If the answer is no, just bring your arm a little bit wider. That's totally fine. So we're just going to do one like this and observe, are you starting to bring your chin towards your shoulder? Can you keep your chin leveled? And then you're going to bend your elbow. And one more time, imagine that you're pressing the heel of the hand straight up. And again, you're lengthening this left side. And exhale, starting to bring the arm down. Awesome. You're going to do the other side now. I'm secretly preparing you to juggle. No, I'm just kidding. Again, elbow point straight down, block, shoulder. The distance of the top of the shoulder, exhale, press up. So if you can move more quickly, of course, you're welcome to, but can you follow the movement with the breath? Can you pair the movement with the breath? Exhale. Inhale. Good, good work. Now you're going to bring the block, the same, remember we just did this in the beginning of class. We're going to do this same thing, but now with the arms reaching back. So what I mean by this is I'm going to bring the block behind me like this, and I'm going to bring my hands towards the edges of the block like this, and then this time I'm going to start to think about reaching the block away like this. So maybe due to shoulder tightness, you may need to hold on to the block as opposed to just bringing your hand to the block, right? But regardless, you're not letting sort of the rest of the body move when you move your arms. So you might need to cuddle or cup the bottom of the block. Again, come to the front edge of the chair. You're going to bring your feet to touch. You're going to let the block just be on the chair seat if you're able to. Move the upper arms and shoulders back. And you're going to slowly start to drag the block along the chair seat as you start to straighten the elbows back. And then slowly you can bend it. So from the side view, this is what it looks like. I'm bringing my feet in and bringing my shoulders to roll back. I'm starting to slowly drag my arms along the chair seat, and then I'm starting to bring the arms to reach back. Last time, I'm going to start to slowly drag the arm. If I'm able to stay here, I see if I can press my palms of the hands into the block. Maybe the answer is no, it can be very strong already, so I stay here, but I improve the sense of connection at the center of my 2 feet. I improve the connection of the center of my hips, and I improve the length I'm making with the side of my body. Good, I'm gonna release that. Now, for our last 2 things we're gonna do in class, we're gonna bring the block now to the left side of your chair. This time, instead of reaching our arm down towards it, we're actually going to reach our leg. So I want you to see if you can scooch all the way back to your chair. This time, you're going to start to see if you can step your leg to the left side. Your left leg moves to the left. And you do want to find the right adjustment for it, because what we're going to try to do together, should be fun, you're going to start to bring your leg up towards the block. But observe, that's not a great placement for me because I'm seeing my knee turn in, my feet turn in. So I want to find a block in an appropriate position. Maybe it's not even that high, right? I just bring it in an appropriate position so that when I stick my leg out to the side, I feel that my leg is rotated from the top of the leg. My left knee is pointing up to the ceiling. My left toes are pointing up to the ceiling. At the same time, I don't feel like everything has gone over to the left side. I'm going to keep my shirt, our Team Senior Planet shirt, still very, very frontal. I extend my arms wide. And then if you find here, oh, this feels pretty accessible, maybe you want to bring your leg up a little bit higher. That's always something that you're welcome to do because we're only going to do this once on each side. You're going to start to reach your trunk over to the left side. So observe how this may feel a bit precarious, right? So I want you to really connect down to the opposite side. And then you're going to reach down towards your toes. You're going to come a little bit more over and then come a little bit more vertical, just to kind of get a feel of this. Extend over and come back up. So at this point, you may decide, yeah, I feel really, that was pretty accessible. You might want to start to even elevate your foot up, right? Because also, if you can, this is like, maybe you've heard of this before, right? You're going to just start to bring the leg up towards you, so you don't have to work so much to get your leg. Woo! But of course, you want to be careful that if you are bringing your foot to the highest height, you want to be at the center of your block, right? And you really want to feel that strong connection with that right side. As you extend over, notice my left leg is straight. From there, the leg reaches to the inside of the foot as I start to bring my right hand to my right hip. And I extend, I can even feel my chin start to extend from the center of my body as I'm doing a slight back bend with the gathering of my upper back as I start to reach my right arm next to the ear. And again, I don't feel that my cheek is touching either shoulder. You feel, if you're not sure, again, bring your chin down to the chest. Make sure it's at the center before you start to extend your chin so that your gaze is facing back to the front of the room. And from wherever you are, you can even slide your arm a little bit further towards your left leg. But again, that strong connection with the right foot is there, the right heel is there. Slowly come up to our seated position. Observe what you're doing with the left hip. Has it started to rotate in? Is the left outer hip moving down and underneath that left leg? You do want to keep that rotation as you are in a rotated position with your leg. Bend the left leg. Other side. So again, we have multiple opportunities to test out how far the block is, how high you want to keep the block. So again, you're going to extend your leg out. You're going to spread those left toes. And again, you may bring the block too far back behind you that you're not able to rotate. That could be an issue. So you want to find that the block is right in line with your hips. You might even, see, that's something that might take a little bit. This is maybe where you take a pause in a recording, right, to measure it out. With your arms extended wide, Feel that rotation of that left hip. So this is my left hip not rotating. This is my left hip rotating. You see, this happens in the top of the hip. Everything else just follows. My foot follows, my knee follows. I'm going to start to extend over, just again, to gauge how my right side is doing. Oh, how does my right side feel when I extend? Okay, how does my right leg feel as I extend? Can I keep the rotation of my right leg as I reach towards the inside of my right foot? Maybe the answer is yes, I can do it well, and I can start to bring my block up. But feel free to stay at any height as you start to extend over, right? You want to feel the center of the block as you extend over. Maybe you can reach to the inside of that right leg. And again, you want to be situated at the part of the chair that you can start to feel the full extension of that right leg. With the left hip pressing, you're going to extend your left arm overhead. If at any point the blocks does not serve you anymore, becomes more of a nuisance instead of something that you can actually work with to support you, any point, just bring the block down. Just bring the block to be a little bit lower, a little bit further away, right? Breathe fully here. Again, you can always adjust and make the block at the highest height after a couple breaths. Sometimes the body just needs some time to be a little bit more acquainted with the pose. But from there, feel the rotation of that right hip without letting the trunk rotate back. So can you keep the steadiness of the legs and let that be a point of support for the trunk to extend in an even way. And then slowly you're going to come up to your seated position. You're going to start to carefully let both feet come towards the center. And today, before we end class, we'll do a little bit of breathing together. And in the spirit of our lovely supportive block or sturdy surface, we're going to use that for our final breath practice today. Again, you're welcome to just bring this block in either the first orientation we did, which was this version, or you can bring it also vertically so that it kind of can sit at that middle of the back and support you there. So place your block. So for example, if I've chosen the version where the block is vertical, I will have to, adjust my seat so it can actually support me like so. But I don't also want to be in a place where I'm pushing into the block and letting my back overdo. So it's a support just to narrow the upper back. Gently, right? Because we're starting to wind down in class, so I don't want you to feel like there's a lot of strong energy. So softening your toe tips, softening your fingertips, drop the hips. So don't let your hips going to be perhaps informed and tightened by the sense of gathering in the upper back. There should be a sense that the support is there to help you gather, but not to exert too much. And if at any point, again, it doesn't serve you anymore, you either change the positioning of it or you just let go of it. There are other ways to find support, such as sitting in front of your chair. You can even put your block and sit with your back against the chair like so, right? So the block can be useful in other ways. You can also start to sit perhaps against the wall with the block the same way, so that there's just multiple ways for you to use the block as a way to help you find the more optimal seat in our breath practice today. Start to find whatever seat it is. I've demonstrated a couple versions just now. And start to level your chin. Roll the shoulders back, settle the feet. Observe how your breath feels now. Any difference you may feel left side, right side. So it could be a difference in how the breath is connecting to the left side and right side of the body, as opposed to simply how the left side and right side feels. Do you feel the breath travels more in one direction than the other? Doesn't mean that something is wrong. It's just something for you to notice. As you may be familiar, we develop a lot of sort of one-sided habits because it becomes more efficient for us maybe to learn to do things on one side. So in the practices of our physical yoga poses, we start to observe differences between the two sides. Because at the end of the day, maybe it doesn't happen in our lifetime. So maybe it's like an end of a existential day. Not an existential, maybe an end of a long kind of day as in our whole lifetime. We want to just kind of reach towards a sense of evenness. Evenness in our thoughts. Not as a way to sort of erase our character or personality, but sort of invite potential to change, potential to choose. Potential to heal. If your eyes are not soft, see if you can soften them. If at any point anything feels like it is a rigid pose, it's not something that is supporting you in observing your breath, then please change. You can always also lay on the floor or lay on your side. So that these final moments of class isn't that you have to be seated in a perfect place or else you're not doing yoga. It's really to invite you to find a sense of ease and support. So that you can feel more still. So now that you may have had a clearer idea of your breath, can you start to move the breath in a way that maybe it's not used to? So if you find that the breath is moving a lot to your left side, can you invite it to start to move a little bit more to the right side? If you start to observe the breath was moving a lot to the upper part of the chest, can you start to invite it to move more to the lower part? And same thing if it's more of a frontal or a posterior, a back sensation. Can you start to invite the breath to move in a different way? And if you're having a hard time choosing, just do one. Just do the one that you noticed first. There's no right or wrong. It's a practice after all, so this is just the beginning. Just choose one and focus on moving the breath there. You can do that for 3 cycles, 5 cycles of breath, and then let go. Observe how the natural breath has responded to that instruction, that invitation. And then you can choose the second one. So do 3 to 5 cycles of maybe the breath moving now towards either the top half or the lower half of the body. So again, all this while you're supported with the block or whatever surface is behind you. And observe after your 3 to 5 cycles how, just letting go. So observe how the natural breath has changed. And then maybe now you work with the front or the back, right? Observing if the breath is moving more to the front of the body or the back of the body. And at any point, if you feel lightheaded, if you feel like it's uncomfortable, just observe the regular breath. And then again, after 3 to 5 cycles of it, let go. If you're seated in an asymmetrical posture, so if one leg is crossed in front of the other leg, you can just take time to switch legs now. Or if you want to switch the way that you're getting support from the block, you may choose to come to the front edge of the chair if you're sitting on the chair. To think about letting go of the block completely is great too. But you're not very active just yet, right? You're just kind of changing the different way of relating to the chair, to your body, to the support it has, or it's now no longer having. So what are the other parts of the support of your body will come in to support its upliftedness? Observing how you feel now. Can you feel that the sense of the front of the face starts to drop back? So the front of the chest starts to soften. From the abdomen softens, front of the hip softens. So it's like getting kind of washed by a wave, a gentle wave. Maybe now setting an intention for the rest of your day, or perhaps for your evening, perhaps the week. Sealing that intention in by bowing your chin down towards your chest. Letting the feet settle, letting the hips settle. Slowly, when you're ready to do so, lifting your head back up. Slowly peeling your eyes open if they were closed. Coming back to the screen, to the room that you're in. And thank you all very much for joining me today. So, like I mentioned before, this is our chair yoga class, but it is a recording of it. So I hope that you had a good time, and know that we have these live classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you in one of our live sessions. But if not, have a wonderful rest of your day, and take care. See you soon. Bye.